feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright, echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Good to see you. Crazy things every day in true crime, and I feel like today is no different. Every day I always think to myself, can I be astounded every day when I research true crime? And it seems like every day that is true, because when you think you've seen it all, you really haven't, because it surprises you every single day. We got a few things today. Updates out of the Madeleine McCann trial. It's not really about Madeleine McCann. It's about the stalker of their family. Her name is Julia Wandelt. And there is more information coming out today. If you felt uncomfortable in the last couple of days hearing about it, today might make you feel even more uncomfortable. Some of the things this woman did to the family is just, there's no other word for it except for stalking. That's why she's been charged with that offense. But we all saw it on the outside, and we got a glimpse of what was going on. And she tried to contact people and didn't get a reply. It was much more than that, including hammering their phone. Hammering. That's the sort of description they gave in court today, that she would ring incessantly on their phone, to the point where Jerry McCann picked up and basically screamed at her to go away, and that you are not my daughter, Madeleine. Including other stories today. In San Francisco, after we got off the air last night, there was a story that came out about a family who had been found in a home in San Francisco. Unfortunately, a family of 4, and at the time they called it suspicious, but I have an update about that, and unfortunately it is a very awful update. It's not what I guess anytime 4 people die, you don't really want either of the answers, but the one we got was even sadder. And in Texas, a deadly shooting spree across 2 cities, leaving 4 dead. There was another one out of Texas too. A woman in a car park of a mall, like a strip mall type thing, was shot dead because she didn't say thank you for holding a door open. I'm serious. A woman was shot dead because she didn't say thank you to for someone held the door open for her. The world gets crazier every day. Hey, how are you all out there? I hope you're doing well. Just give me a second. I'm just setting this up so we can start talking about everything. You guys get comfortable in the chat. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. All right, then I'll get the camera on. Let's get set up. There we go. Let's put that there for a sec, so I can do this. Hey guys, good to see you. Back in my mansion. Do you like my mansion? This is what YouTube money buys. This is what YouTube money buys creators. Mansions like this. Don't worry about the artifacts. Don't worry about them. That's just how these new AI inspired house. That's where we live, in AI now. That's where we that's where we live. Hey, good to see you guys. Hey, Danny gifted a membership. I appreciate that, buddy. Good to see you all. Who else is here? Mama Mia is here. Carolina. Marlene is here. Nanalana. Kim is here. Sean is here. Danny's here. Chipmunk is here. Who else is here? My friend Four Sons' mum is here. Jackie's here. Miss Woozy is here. Sean's here. Rachel's here. Hey, Rachel. Do we miss anyone? Lynn D. Betsy's here. Neuro's here. All right. Good to see you all. Good to see you. Hey, Diane's here. Everyone, be impressed. Diane's here. Okay. Let me give you the quick update in the Sprague and Wandelt trial that's going on right now. And I think we all had a feeling about Julia Wandelt. I think it sort of was fascinating for about 2 minutes when it first happened. When we all first heard about this woman out of Poland that claimed that she was Madeleine McCann, I think we were all fascinated for like a couple of minutes. And then we started using our brains and started going, huh, some of these things don't add up. Some of these things don't really, go together. How did you get to Poland? How is it that you have a family? How is it that you look Polish and not English? And it just sort of unraveled from there. And the people giving it oxygen, in Ping's opinion, is why we're here today, why we're at trial. I really believe it. If everyone had sort of left it alone after she failed the first time, I think maybe it wouldn't have been as bad as it is today because she wouldn't have got the oxygen and the sort of taste of fame. And if you go into the back history of Julia Wendelt, what you hear a lot about is that I think she's a young woman who really wanted to be famous. I don't think it's so much about being a missing child. I think it's more that this was her way of grasping onto being famous. Well, she got it. She is famous, but for all the wrong reasons. She's now famous for being a high profile stalker, not for anything constructive in this world. And when I read to you some of the things that came out today in the trial, I think you will get a very clear idea of really what was going on. Here, let me go down here. Yeah, Madeleine McCann's sister and brother have told the trial of two women accused of stalking their family of the distressing and creepy, disturbing messages they received. The twins, now aged 20, said they were contacted on social media platforms, including Facebook and Instagram, by Julia, claiming to be their sister who disappeared age 3 during a holiday in Portugal in 2007. The court heard messages including Wandelt claiming to have childhood memories of playing Ring a Rosies with them. This is something that she did a lot. Whenever she got to speak to a family member or a close associate, she tried to implant these false memories, often saying that she remembers Kate McCann putting shoes on her feet or that she was playing Ring a Rosie with the twins. And during this trial, some of the evidence that the other McCann children gave was that it messed with their minds because they were so young at the time that they don't fully understand or remember because they were just so little, and that it sort of messes with their head because they can't ever be 100% sure of what this woman's telling them. But they both say in their heart they know that Julia is not Madeleine McCann. And on day one of this trial, we were told scientifically she is not Madeleine McCann. So that should put that to rest forever, hopefully. But when you hear of this woman, she didn't just contact the McCanns, she scoured through every online uh, tidbit and news article to track down any name she could figure out that was a friend of the McCanns and even contacted them. One of them being Kate McCann's close friend and confidant, who Julia contacted and was trying to guilt trip her into contacting Kate. She's like, "Get me in touch with Kate. I need a DNA test. I'm really Madeline. No one believes me." There are obvious reasons why no one believes you. It's not an accident. People aren't trying to have some sort of cover up of, you know, of what exactly I don't know. But yeah, contacted them various times through TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and they said here that uh, the daughter, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. It's Emily McCann. Uh, said that when she was home from university, a letter was posted to her from Julia, and that she did not keep it. She was afraid to open it, got rid of it, and they said that, yeah, in this letter, the bit she did read, there was a lot of writing and similar lines that I was her last hope to help her and tried to persuade me that she was Madeline. She had also printed out pictures of me and her. She also goes on to say that she believes that Julia used AI to modify images that were in the public domain to make them sort of look related to Julia and the family. And she sort of modified them, including the eye condition that Madeline has. She had used editing software to make it look like she had it, and then made up excuses like her kidnappers gave her an eye transplant, and I don't know, she came up with other things too, like, "It healed when I got older." And if you know that eye condition that Madeline McCann has it never heals. It never ever heals. You have it for life. It's actually a missing part of your eye. It's not something that can grow back, or, it's not something that'll fix itself or something like that. Um, Yeah, so this is the type of thing she was doing to the family, making these photos and altering them with Photoshop and AI to make it look more convincing. And she was sending these to the family, going, "Look, look, this is us. Look, I am so like you. You should believe me." It shows you the level of deception, if you ask me. They ask in the court today, does Julia actually know that she is not Madeline McCann? If she doesn't know, then that is very sad because it means she's a very mentally ill woman. If she does know and she still committed all these crimes and photos and things like that, it makes her offending 1,000 times worse because she knowingly went after this family when she knows she's not Madeline McCann. So they're the two sides of the coin that what they were sort of demonstrating in court today. Um, so the daughter says here that the messages did make her feel guilty because Miss Wandelt was desperate to connect and reach out to her. It makes you feel guilty for not listening to her request, but I knew deep down it wasn't Madeline. Because I always knew she wasn't Madeline, I didn't need to do a DNA test. So the family were just so certain that she was not Madeline McCann that there was no need to go through with her request for a DNA comparison. Um, yeah, so they ask about this message about playing Ring a Ring a Rosie, and she says here, again, it makes me feel quite uncomfortable because it's quite creepy and playing with my emotions and memories that she claims happened. I don't know what that would feel like if you were the daughter of Kate and Jerry McCann, and this woman came out of the woodwork and started saying, "I'm Madeline. I remember us playing childhood games together." That must really that must really F with you, for lack of a better term. Because how would you know for sure? These kids were so young at the time. How would they ever know for like 100%? So they can only trust what they feel and remember, and I guess what their parents tell them. And just it doesn't add up. That's what they've been saying throughout the court. Um, yeah, she also says here, this is the daughter of Kate and Jerry, says when the messages first started coming to her from Julia, she says it was quite distressing to see the messages. It's a long message and there's a sound of desperation which put a lot of stress on me. I felt uncomfortable about it as I didn't want to receive messages about that. Um, and then they ask her about these supposed memories. She says it's disturbing she is coming up with these supposed memories when she is not Madeline. So the messaging is very strong from the family. Julia Wendell is not Madeline. Her communications with the family are unwanted, and her persistence on the family made them feel very uncomfortable in a variety of ways. One, they sort of felt mean for not helping her, but at the same time, they knew that this was not Madeline, and the fact that she kept trying to tug at their heartstrings made them feel very awkward at the same time, because I guess they're human. They could understand, but they know it's not their daughter at the same time. Let's see here. Yeah, I want to go here. So that was this morning. That's when the daughter, there was a statement. So only the daughter gave video evidence today via video link. The son had an agreed upon statement, which was read out to the court. He didn't give live evidence. I'm not sure why, but he just didn't. By the way, I contacted the court and I tried to see if we could get transcripts of today and the other days and what it would cost to make that happen. Sometimes you have to pay, and I was told in no uncertain terms by the court, this is Leicester Court in the UK. I was told in no uncertain terms that there are no transcripts. They are not given out to the media. You cannot apply for them. You cannot pay to get them. There is no way to get them. And there is a form you can fill out. It is called an EX107. I asked if I applied through an EX107, could I get them that way, which is where a transcription is done at your request. And they said that it was made very perfectly clear by the judge at the start of this that no transcripts were to be given to anyone. Doesn't matter if you're a media person or the public or whatever, that there were no transcripts to be given out. So if we wanted to cover it, we'd have to go to England and go to Leicester Court and actually sit in on the session and take notes. Sort of like what we did with Aaron Patterson. I have to actually do the work, and that would be the only way of doing it. So very similar to Australia, very similar to the way we do trials down here. So unfortunately, I have to rely on the reporting that was done in England. That's the only way we're able to talk about it. But this was the roundup of the daughter's evidence that she gave via video link. She said she was distressed by the messages from the defendant, Julia Wandelt, who claimed to be her sister. She told the court it's disturbing. She's coming up with those memories. Um, Talked about that Ringer Rosie memory that she tried to tell her was real. Said that it was quite creepy and had been playing with her emotions and memories. They said the messages did make her feel guilty because Miss Wandelt was desperate to connect with her. She said she did not need to do a DNA test as she always knew she wasn't Madeline. Miss McCann told the court her mother, Kate, found it the hardest and was harassed by Julia Wandelt more than the rest of the family. So it took a toll on her and her well being. For your child to have to stand up in court and admit that they witnessed their mother break down over what was going on, and for them to see how much it hurt her, I think that would be a mother's worst nightmare. To see her children have to give that evidence. So, as much as a lot of people don't like Kate and Jerry, you could understand being a mother or a father out there that to have your children dragged before a courtroom and have to tell some of their deepest family emotions to the court is a pretty harrowing experience, unfortunately. They said here, the daughter said the potential for Julia to turn up at her home was scary for her. The court was told about improved security measures that were put in place at the family home, including new CCTV, a panic alarm, and a Ring doorbell camera. Yeah, so they spoke about this panic alarm at the family home. At the family home, they installed this button where if they pressed it, it went to Leicester PD and they would come straight to the home. It was like a red light, like the bat symbol. Like if they pressed it, it was like, a real emergency. Like the family was under threat. There may have been someone in the home. There may have been a threat to life, something like that. And this was all brought about because of Julia Wandelt, because they didn't know what she could do. And I've seen some claims online saying that if this was left unchecked, could she have hurt the family? Maybe. If people don't get what they want, what is the next step in their sort of offending? Could she have broken into the home? Could she have tried to get in there to uncover the alleged cover up that she thought was going on. Maybe I think that it's a possibility. SP1 said, "Ring a ringer Rosie. We in America know it. Ring around the Rosie." Okay, I don't know. Ask the British people. I'm just telling you what was said in court. That's what they call it. So let me see. Rachel said they probably lived in fear for years. Well, this dates back at least 3 or 4 years that they're saying that Julia had been contacting them. So at least a few years that this was going on. Um, yeah, so they asked a lot about the letters and communication today. They asked the daughter today, what did she think about Julia's claim that she was Madeline McCann? And she says, I would have had a feeling there would be something about her I would recognize, but I didn't think she looked like us. She is Polish and has Polish family who are her parents. It didn't make any sense to me. Very clever girl. She is Polish. She looks very Polish and doesn't look anything like the McCann family. So I think people who had been following Julia Wandelt throughout this saga picked up very early on that she didn't look anything like Madeline McCann, not even from day one. So Rachel says, I definitely think she could have snapped, and then who knows what would have happened. Very possibly, you hear about the desperation that she had in contacting the family. What would have happened if they kept denying her what she wanted, which was communication, a DNA test, to be their daughter? What happens when if this wasn't taken care of? She could have gone off the deep end, very, very much so. I believe that's probably what would have happened. All right. One of the other questions they asked the daughter today was about a incident last year in the 7th of December 2024. And apparently this is when Julia and Karen Sprague turned up at the McCann family home demanding a DNA test. The daughter was not home at the time, but was at university. Speaking about her mother, she said her mother was very stressed and on edge about that because it's not nice to have an unexpected, unwanted visitor at your home, especially the nature of what she was saying and doing, begging. So she said her mother was really panicked on the phone, and they said that that this woman turning up at their home basically freaked them out, which I could understand. And yeah, brutal. I mean, not only calling, contacting, so she also contacted these children on social media to the point where the son, Sean, he had to change all of his social media to take the McCann name out of his profile and uh so people couldn't track him down. He was getting freaked out to the point where he didn't want his last name being on his profile pictures and his account. So he had to remove all that in the hope that people would leave him alone. SP Mom said, so the reporting can only be done in person. I still think that's sus, and they can fake it or use it to say whatever they want. Not at all like the US to get justice. Well, yeah, it has to be done in person, apparently. Chipmunk said, Ring Around the Rosie is a creepy song. Look it up. There's a reason they say ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Isn't it based off the plague or something? Hold on. Yeah, isn't it based off an illness? Uh, yeah, they're saying here, ring a rosies refers to the circular red rashes that were a symptom of the plague. And they're saying here, a pocket full of posies suggests carrying flowers and herbs to protect against a foul smell of disease, which was believed to spread it. I mean, I don't know if this is true. They just said it's a theory of what the song means, but That's the one I've heard, is that it had something to do with the plague. Smell of the dead, yeah, like keeping herbs and things like that. They used to wear those masks. You ever seen those masks with the long nose? They had herbs and other things in that, that long nose thing, and they put, like, hay and flowers and herbs, and they thought it was a type of, like, filtration, sort of like a filtration type thing. I don't know if it ever worked, but, that's what they used to do. Alright, let me see what else I got here. Uh, yeah, so this was very, very sad. The daughter says here that, they're talking about the messages and letters that she received. She said she didn't really want to tell anyone about it and was not aware at the time of the wider contact that Miss Wandelt had made within the family and friends. She didn't think it was a criminal offense or know it would be considered stalking. She says, I just thought I could deal with it myself and to ignore it. I didn't want to add any additional stress to my parents or family, so I just left it with myself. That is a very, very brave girl. A very brave girl to um, think that she could deal with it on her own at the age of 20, could deal with a stalker, someone who is obviously unhinged. They're both 20, they're twins. So, hope I'm pronouncing her name right, because my mind tells me to say Emil, but I think it's Emily or Amelie. Uh, how old is Sean? So Emily and Sean are both 20. They're twins. So they're both the same age. You would have seen them if I don't want to show their photos from today other than the sketch that we have up, but I want to show you back in the day. Let me see. Let me show you back when Madeline went missing, or around that time. So there's Madeline, and there's the twins here. So they were only little, very, very little at the time. They were babies. That's why these memories that Julia Wandelt are trying to sort of put in their minds, they don't fully remember that much. Here you go. Here's another photo of the both of them and Madeline McCann. They don't know, because their memories would be very yeah, just I don't know how much you guys remember when you were this age, but I don't remember all that much, and I would suspect that they don't either. Luna still said your eyes don't change as you grow up, do they? They do not. So if you have that columbolo or whatever it's called, that missing that stripe in the eye that Madeline McCann had, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. It doesn't fix itself. It doesn't heal. It's there for life. So Julia Julia Wandelt can lie all she wants about it healing and all this type of thing, but it's not true. It doesn't heal. It doesn't go away. She would have it for her entire life. Miss Woozy said, I just keep thinking of the episode of Ghost Adventures where Zach dressed up like the doctor with the beak nose. Uh-huh. Yes, I do remember that episode. SP Mama said London bridges falling down and then London in Texas or Arizona connected to Disney. Sure, I believe you. Chipmunk said, I know it's crazy. Oh, you're talking about the other things. Okay, I thought you were talking about Julia, and I was like, yes, I agree with you. uh, so that's basically the big updates from today from the McCann thing. I think they've demonstrated so far. So today was day 3. I think they've demonstrated so far that this was a very one-sided communication between Julia Wandel and the family, that the family really did not play into it. And they made it well known to Julia that they did not want any contact with her, and any further pushing for contact, DNA tests, anything like that would result in them having to inform authorities about it. I mean, this woman was talked to by Operation Grange in person in the UK, and she still decided to leave the UK, go home to Poland, and then come back to the UK. That's when they arrested her, when she wanted to come back again. And they were like, okay, she's back again. She's probably going to go harass Kate and Jerry and the children. So she didn't take what the authorities told her. The authorities were like, do not contact that family. Do not come back to the UK with the aim of trying to get in contact with them. And she ignored it and decided to come back to Heathrow and try and get back into their lives. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It just sounds like someone who thinks her version of reality is the only one that is correct. And anytime someone tries to realign her reality, she ignores them because it doesn't fit what she wants. Uh it doesn't get her to where she wants to be. But I really believe, while she may be mentally ill with the whole, because this is not the first missing child she has claimed to be. This is like the third or fourth one. I don't fully think it's about that. I really think this is a girl who always wanted to be famous. And if you delve back into her past, she has tried to claim various other things and make up profile names and pretend to be famous lost children. And I really think it's not fully about being a lost child. I do think it's about her wanting fame. And when she got a little bit of it, when she tapped into the McCann thing, she got a taste of it. Like when she was flown out to America and she was with all these influencers and people like that, I think that only gave her more ammunition to keep going, because she's like, I've tasted the sort of what fame is like. And when it started to dissipate, and when she stopped being so, in the papers and people talking to her and ringing for interviews, and when that started to die down, she's like, I have to do something to get back to that point. I have to go back to being, super famous. And I always believe that that is the main aim. It is not really to be Madeline McCann or whatever. It is just to be a famous person. Michaela said, I always wanted to be from a different family growing up. I don't think that's very abnormal. I think a lot of children go through that, thinking that, or wanting to be a different family. Marlene said, I want to hear Mr. Muffin playing the piano. He's sleeping right now. He's right over here sleeping. Betsy said, thanks for the update. You are welcome. You are welcome. All right. I want to go out to San Francisco because this is really sad here. Let me take you to Fox K. What is it? It's KTVU in San Francisco.
Neighbors in San Francisco still in shock tonight over the tragic discovery of 4 people who were found dead inside a house. KTVU's Christian Catherine live tonight in the city with the very latest. Christian?
Yeah, Mike, police in San Francisco not offering a lot of new details about their investigation, about how this family of 4 met their end, but there is an active investigation still underway. The home on the 900 block of Monterey Boulevard in San Francisco was quiet after being at the center of an intense police investigation. The medical examiner's office confirms that it is conducting a detailed investigation of the remains of the 4 people found dead inside the home, but at this point is not releasing the names of those involved or commenting on how they died. Multiple police sources have confirmed that this is a case of murder-suicide.
It is devastating. It is very devastating right now.
Neighbors say they're still coming to grips with the tragedy striking so close to home.
We saw yesterday afternoon all the cops coming in. There were around 20 plus cop cars, chopper, multiple people from different departments, forensic agents, detectives. We could tell that something big has happened.
Jaitan Kathuria lives across the street from the home and recalls seeing the family of 4 that lived here. He said there appeared to be nothing amiss.
When we moved in last year, we used to see more of them. Since last few months, we haven't seen much.
The last time he saw any of them was when they rolled their bins out for Monday morning collection.
I think it was Sunday evening. Again, like, I was, we were in the kitchen area and stuff, and I think the trash was being put out. And after that, we have not seen anyone.
Over the course of the day, people dropped by, leaving flowers or pausing for a few moments. Catherine Doan said she didn't know the family, but felt it was important to mark the loss of the family.
And my heart goes out to them, and it's just really sad. It just really is. And I just had to come with my great niece, Izzy, to just come and bring some flowers.
Yeah, so they actually got a welfare check on that property, went out there and discovered that there were 4 people tragically dead in that home, and 2 of them are children. I don't think that's ever what we want to hear about. 4 family members, including 2 children, found dead in San Francisco's Westwood Highlands. And they're saying here, a man who went to check on the well-being of his brother and brother's family found them all dead at their home in San Francisco's quiet Westwood Highlands neighborhood on Wednesday afternoon. And they say, according to police and information reviewed by the Chronicle, the man called authorities for help at 1:23 p.m. after finding the bodies of his brother, sister-in-law, and their 2 children at the house on the 900 block of Monterey Boulevard. He had done a welfare check on the family after not hearing from them. They say homicide inspectors are investigating the case, but police would not say how the family died. This was a statement they provided. This appears to be suspicious. That's why our homicide investigators are leading the incident. It appears to be a criminal act, but there is no threat to the public. They're saying, yeah, that you should have seen how many cops were out here. Here, I'll show you. There were investigators everywhere out at this property. And now we know it was a murder S word. And that's why they said it was criminal, because it is. But they're not looking for anyone because that person is dead too. And they're saying here, the family had been quiet for a couple of months, according to a neighbor. They were wondering if they put the house up for sale or something because they didn't notice as much movement as before. Another neighbor said that his children attended ski school with the family's daughters. They said there's a group of kids in the neighborhood around that age and they would all hang out together, adding that the family had lived there for more than a decade. So a family well known within the neighborhood where the children played together. Really sad. What caused it? Why it had to happen? Don't know. There's another view of the home and the media outside of the property, but very, very sad. Marylander said, I'm sure it's shocking for the neighbors. I think anytime it happens, whether it's in your neighborhood or we hear about it through YouTube like this, it's shocking. Miss Woozy said, I hate hearing these stories because it's one thing to take yourself, but to make that choice for other people is beyond gross, especially children, especially your own children, right? Very, very sad. So that happened just after we got off the air yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to cover it. And I was like, this always happens when I hit that end show. There's like some sort of big story that comes out. So I wanted to make sure at least I showed it to you tonight. Let me go here. So that's all we know about it, unfortunately. They just said that relatives have ID'd the family members of this tragedy. And they're saying that, okay, there is a bit more. New article came out an hour ago. They're saying relatives ID SF family found inside home. Records show foreclosure on the property. That is very sad. They're saying court documents show a history of financial hardship involving the family home, which was sold in a foreclosure auction. That's awful. It sounds like the family may have been in financial trouble and couldn't see a way out, and they were losing their family home. That is very, very sad. They say court documents obtained by ABC7 shows that the Monterey Boulevard home had been in foreclosure since February of 2024, when the family was more than $200,000 behind in mortgage payments. Other documents show they had been in default since March of 2022. The home was sold at public auction in September of 2024, and it shows here, records show the couple previously owned Orbit Cafe, a cafe and roastery that once had 3 locations in Oakland, and they have now been closed. But it sounds like definitely they had a very awful financial situation undergoing. To have your home foreclosed and then lose all your businesses, that's pretty sad. Burnt Popcorn said lots of layoffs in tech right now. That is true. There are a lot of layoffs in the tech world right now. Although it sounds like they worked in cafe and hospitality. Chipmunk said, you move out, get assistance, live within your means, and get back on your feet. Some people don't, apparently. Woman of Steel said, people must fight harder. Stop giving up. Quit taking it out on your family. That is very true. Very true. Now there is a wife and 2 children who are not here either, unfortunately. It doesn't sound like it was a... You know how sometimes we hear of the S-word pact, where the 2 adults come to an agreement and then do the actions? It doesn't sound like that's what's going on here, because they're saying it's a murder S-word, which says that one person did the killing and then did themselves. So I don't think it's like the adults came to an agreement with the, financial issues or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, Burnt Popcorn, I hope you're doing well, my friend. SP1 said, you can't live within your means in SF. It's a lose-lose. I know, I was there. The city is very expensive, very expensive. Miss Woozy said, I've gone through a foreclosure and losing my home, and this was the last thing on my mind. Well, we will never know what they were contemplating, because they're not here anymore. I don't think we'll ever know, unfortunately. I want to take you... That's all I have on that one. I just wanted to update you. I wanted to take you to Texas, because why not? No, I'm just kidding. I want to take you to Texas because this was a strange one. I'm just hoping I've got the right link here for you. Yeah, it's here. I want to take you to click to Houston, and it's about a man that went on a rampage in Sugarland, and he went on a shooting spree across Houston. So just yesterday, we were talking about the bodies in the Bayou. Now we're talking about a guy going on a cross-county shooting spree. So here's the update. This is a small press conference. I won't play all of it. Good work, Ping.
They know what's going on?
Yeah.
Here today with me.
It's awful. Can't hear it. I'm going to play a different one for you. Hopefully it's got better audio. Hold on. Yeah, this one's better. Yeah, I'll take you to a different one.
So we have a very tragic incident today. It's got several moving parts, so I'm going to start from the beginning. Of course, this is all under investigation. Things may change. So at about 12:30 this afternoon, Sugarland Police Department had a report of a road rage. I believe it's a road rage shooting where an adult female was killed near Derry Ashford and Highway 90. I don't know much more information on that. I'm going to refer you to Sugarland Police Department on that part of the investigation. So at about 1:30, we received a call from the mechanic shop here near Fondren and Maine. There had been a shooting at the mechanic shop About 1:30, we received a report of a shooting at a mechanic shop here on Fondren, just south of Main Street. There was a report that a male in a gray Ford Escape, which matched the description of the vehicle in the Sugarland shooting, had been involved in an altercation with a mechanic there. During that altercation, he shot the mechanic. As he was fleeing, apparently somebody came out of another warehouse here, started filming that suspect leaving. The suspect then fired several shots, killing that witness. Suspect fled north on Fondren to the area of Creek Bend and Fondren. Apparently the address came back to that location. Our officers were en route to that location. We got another report of a shooting when officers found that location. When officers arrived at that location, they found the suspect inside the suspect vehicle, deceased from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yeah, so another one where the offender unfortunately took the easy way out like a coward. They said, though the incident was initially thought to be sparked by a road rage incident, cops later confirmed that the woman and the gunman had a relationship with each other. They said this incident was not a random act of road rage violence. The two witnesses helped authorities perform life saving measures on the victim before she was brought to a local hospital and pronounced dead. That's very sad. And they say at around 1:30 p.m., the unidentified suspect in a gray Ford Escape was spotted in an altercation with a worker at a mechanic shop in southwest Houston, only 10 minutes from where he had fatally gunned down the woman. The alleged killer fired several shots at the worker and another man who was filming the incident at a nearby warehouse as he drove away. Both men were shot and killed, cops said. So this guy really went on an absolute rampage. They said the man recording the gunman had owned the body shop. He was 35 years old, according to family members who told KHOU. And I'll take you to that update too. So this guy not only shot a woman he was in a relationship, then went and shot people, one who was filming the incident, and killed them too. What this guy was up to, I don't know, but they have that old saying of going postal. That's almost like what this is. Let me show you this quick one from KHOU.
Brand new information about a deadly shooting in Sugar Land this afternoon that may be connected to two more shootings in Houston.
Investigators say it appears to have started with a case of domestic violence. The tragic chain of events began when a woman was shot in a car along Dairy Ashford around 12:30 this afternoon. Then about an hour later, a man matching the suspect's description shot and killed a man at a mechanic shop on Fondren, and then another man who tried to record the suspect with his cell phone. The suspect was later found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound on Creek Bend Drive.
Anieli Ruiz is picking up the story we've been following all afternoon with the late breaking new information. Anieli?
Well, that's right. Sugar Land police are telling us tonight that they first originally thought this was a road rage shooting. But later, once investigators began digging, they determined that a man actually shot a woman who was in a relationship with him. And then the shooting actually ended up here, where two mechanics were told were shot here on the road. We're learning more information about those victims tonight. Tonight, investigators trying to confirm if a man who shot and killed a woman in Sugar Land is the same man who shot and killed two others in Houston before taking his own life. It started along Dairy Ashford near Highway 90.
A female in a vehicle with several gunshot wounds.
Investigators said the woman died at the hospital, but officers were put on alert for a silver Ford Escape. And about an hour later, HPD responded to another shooting on Fondren near Highway 90, involving a vehicle matching the suspect's description.
The report of a shooting.
I'll leave it there. It is a really awful crime. You ask, why do people do this? And I can't give you an explanation. I have no idea. But it feels like every time I come and tell you these stories, I feel like the world is going mad. It just seems like there's violence everywhere, every day, in every way imaginable. Like any way you could think of it being done, that's how it's being done every single day. That's all I have on that one as well. It's not a lot known except for what I just told you. But yeah, the woman ended up dying. He was in a relationship with her at one point. Then he killed those two men, including one guy who was filming the altercation with the other man. So a guy just filming the scene just got shot and killed. It's brutal. But that's not the only thing that happened in Texas in the last 24 hours. There's another story about gun violence, and I'm going to bring it to you, and it doesn't make any sense. When you hear about this story, you're going to ask yourself, wait, why? You're not gonna believe it. A fight began after the victim held the door for the suspect at a store and wasn't like the person didn't say thank you. So they got into an argument and the woman was shot and killed in a Dallas shopping center car park on Tuesday, October 7. Shot and killed for not saying thank you. I what? Why would you shoot and kill someone for that? I mean, bad manners are one thing, but to shoot someone in a just daily like interaction with someone is crazy talk. Here, watch this.
Tense moments between two women that ended in a deadly shooting at a Dallas shopping center. Investigators say the confrontation was sparked after one of the women did not thank the other for holding the door for her. NBC5's Shannon Miller has more from the witness.
And I'm thankful that it didn't happen in this store.
Just seconds after she checked out Cecilia Simpson at the Five Below store at the Wheatland Town Crossing, Denise Harris says she witnessed what became her customer's final intense moments.
The girl walking in, and I don't know what happened between here and here, but she must have bumped in. The girl turned around. She said something to the lady. Lady said something.
According to an arrest warrant affidavit, Simpson held the door open for Kiona Hampton as they left the store. Simpson became upset after Hampton did not thank her for holding the door.
Detectives say after Simpson walked out the door here and had that verbal dispute with the suspect, she got in her car and drove down to the PetSmart. Detectives say the suspect walked there and followed her into the store.
Dallas police say Simpson and Hampton were told to leave the PetSmart after they continued to argue. The pair then went into the parking lot where they got into a physical fight. Moments later, investigators say Hampton pulled out a gun and shot Simpson 3 times before taking off in a car.
It's just sad, you know, when you see somebody and you just seen them and then the next minute they're dead.
Officers later arrested Hampton Tuesday night during a traffic stop. She admitted to police she took out her gun and shot Simpson when she was trying to get the victim away from her. Hampton now faces a murder charge.
You just can't believe it, you know, something like that would happen.
Harris hopes to see more security at the shopping center to help respond to similar situations between shoppers before they reach a boiling point. In Dallas, Shannon Miller, NBC5.
Shot and killed over not saying thank you to someone. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, except for, according to court documents, Simpson and the witness entered PetSmart and told employees the suspect was following them. Shortly after, Hampton entered the store and engaged in a verbal dispute with the witness. The suspect left and returned several minutes later, and Hampton and Simpson continued to argue in the store when the group was asked to leave by employees. As the victim and the witness were entering their vehicle, Hampton threw a drink bottle at their vehicle. Simpson walked over to Hampton and continued to engage in a verbal dispute that escalated into a physical fight. The witness said she went to help the victim during the altercation and hit the suspect several times. The witness stepped away from the fight when the suspect took out a black and silver handgun and fired 3 times at Simpson. Hampton fled afterwards and was later arrested. And they're saying that, unfortunately, even with the help of people nearby, the woman died from her injuries, from those gunshot wounds. The poor lady's daughter was with her and had to see her mother die because of some altercation with some rando person. That poor family. Really. Hey Tad, on a deeper level, weak people who have no power in their lives tend to try and act like this. Probably true. What one threw the bottle? Yeah, I'll tell you. It was the lady who shot the other lady. She's the one who threw the drink at the vehicle that the lady who died, Simpson, was driving or about to drive. She threw a drink bottle at the vehicle. Pointing is also rude. This is true. Chipmunk said, in my city, one guy shot another guy over a video game. There was a guy who shot a guy because of a Madden tournament a few years ago on Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. They had like a Madden tournament, and a guy lost and shot a competitor. Yeah, you don't see it shows you never know what's going to happen when you leave the house. This lady, I guess, did not think that she was going to be shot and killed when she left the house. According to another article I read, the 41-year-old Cecilia Simpson, she was a nurse, and she worked as a nurse for 20 years. And she was well known for being a very caring person who helped a lot of people in her work. Her daughter is also a nurse and followed in her mom's footsteps to help people. And this is what she got for her lifetime of helping people. She got shot in public. That's what she got for being a person who dedicated their lives to helping other people. Carolina said, "This is why I've always told my son not to engage with a road rager. There have definitely been people shot and killed in road rage before, several times." Let me see here. I think we got a third one, if I can find it. Is it this one? There's been so many in the last 24 hours. I could do a 9-hour show giving you all the different stories, but I don't think it's that one. Let me find it. Yep, I think it's this one. So if you remember Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly, there was an update in that one, if I can grab it. Nope. Nope. So Tiffany Adams, I'll just tell you while I try and find the rest of it. Tiffany Adams' murder trial for Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly, it has been marked down now for trial. They're saying here, a schedule has been set for defendant Tiffany Adams in the murder trial of Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly. And they're saying, May 24, nearly a year and a half. Yeah. In October 2025, Adams and her team agreed to a scheduling order, including motion hearings in February 2026, a victim impact statement and final witness and exhibit list for the state and defendant in April of next year. The documents say jury selection and trial are set to begin for Adams in June of 2026, so the 1st of June next year. We're expected to get the trial underway for Tiffany Adams. So if you remember this is Veronica Butler and Gillian Kelly. We're finally going to get into that particular trial for one of the people anyway. Let me see if I can get an update on that. Is that all I'm going to get? Okay. Apparently that's all I'm going to get. Why? I don't know. But the update is that next year, June 1st, we will go to trial for Tiffany Adams. So there you go. God's Misfits. That'll be a hell of a trial. It really will. It will be a just be very emotional. Be a lot of really crazy details that come out, and I'm sure we'll all be watching. Let me see. Yes, I believe you. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm going to bring up the next story. Hold on. We seem to have a lot of stories from Texas tonight. I'm not sure what's going on. We have a ton out of Texas today. I've had a ton sent to me. So there was a man convicted in 2002 of murdering his daughter, and he was supposed to be executed. Now they're saying they're going to halt that execution of his daughter of his daughter, of him for the murder of his daughter. And this came in just in the last, since I last saw you yesterday.
To a story that we've been following on a Texas death row inmate convicted of killing his own daughter. The state's highest criminal court has delayed Robert Roberson's planned execution that was supposed to take place in exactly 1 week.
Roberson and his legal team filed an emergency motion and requested a new trial stemming from the 2002 death of his daughter from suspected shaken baby syndrome. As we reported Monday, the 58-year-old was sentenced to death the following year, but he has maintained he's innocent. The case is the subject of a new podcast from NBC's Lester Holt. NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris joins us now. Misty, so glad you're here. So let's talk about this new evidence. Lester was just here explaining that they had uncovered a lot in the podcast that wasn't previously known. How is that affecting the case for Roberson?
It is certainly affecting the case, and now we know that his death has stayed at this point, which will result in a new hearing where some of this evidence will be heard by the court. So first of all, criticism of shaken baby syndrome, whether or not that's reliable medical expert evidence that could be presented in court.
So I'll stop it there for a minute. We actually covered this, I think, when he was starting his legal challenges a while ago. We actually covered the very beginning of this, but you're about to get a bit of an explanation of it. They wanted to retest some of it. I don't know how that's going to go, but he's had his execution delayed, been convicted since 2002. So what is that? 23 years. 23 years on death row, and now it's halted again.
Consensus now among experts that it is not, that it's inconclusive, and a jury should not have heard it. Also, that there were pre-existing medical conditions that Nikki in this case had experienced before that the jury did not hear, and also that Robertson had been diagnosed with autism, which could have spoken to some of his mannerisms. But the bombshell is that a judge that was involved in this case could have had a conflict of interest, was involved in the decision of Nikki's grandparents to take her off of life support. And they say that's judicial misconduct. So all of this is what the court will consider in whether or not he gets a new trial.
Okay. Missy, you know what concerns me is that these are just the cases that we hear about. Why are so many of these death row cases that are quite literally life or death, why do they always come down to the wire?
I know it feels like that, but remember, when you have a death row case, there are so many appeals that have been done up through and up to that date of execution. So this has been a case where all of those appeals have been exhausted. And the reason that you see what seems like a last-minute effort is that oftentimes it comes down to what it is in this case, newly discovered evidence.
So I don't know what you guys think, but we've been seeing a lot more of these older cases that were based on different types of medical science from 20, 30 years ago be upended right at the end of it. It's happened in Australia, it's happened in America, it's happened in the UK a few times as well. I don't know where you go from there, from the justice for the people who died, whether there is any justice. Like, it makes it very muddy. It makes it very muddy to know whether that child was actually killed or was it some sort of natural death. But yeah. Chipmunk said he's done more time than most murderers. If they don't really know, then let him out. He's been in there a long time, 23 years. Carolina said, I'm taking you on my walk. Okay. Good luck walking your dog. By the way, we'll have a bit of a break. We've been going full pace tonight because there's so many stories to get through. I want to thank Carla. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. And thank you to Sean. You guys are amazing. I very much appreciate it. And to Lisa, I appreciate you too. Thank you for the super chat. It's very kind of both of you. The support on this channel really is the reason why you guys get daily videos. It really is. And the people like those people are the reason we're able to head out to different things, do different stuff, get different documents when we can get them, get you updates that, other channels don't have. So they are the people who help with that. So I appreciate it very much. And yesterday, I don't know if I said thank you, but Linda, thank you very much for that donation that came in. I can't remember if I thank you in yesterday's show or not. I all last night I was like, I can't remember if I did or I didn't. So I'll say it again. Thank you to Linda. Ozzy said, horrific if parents are wrongly accused in a time of grief. Shaken baby syndrome is on shaky ground legally recently, it seems. It's sort of like the SIDS, the SIDS death. A lot of those, there was a new research that came out that basically said 99% of all SIDS deaths, like that is sudden infant death syndrome, most of those now can be medically explained, and they're not mysteries anymore. So back in the 90s, they didn't have the medical knowledge to be able to find a cause. But apparently these days, it's extremely rare to have a baby just randomly die. It doesn't happen without an explanation. I mean, uh, it doesn't happen that often anymore. Here, SIDS. Yeah, here. Um, Yeah, here they say it remains a leading cause of post neonatal mortality globally, but they call it sudden unexpected infant death now, SUID. And they say encompassing SIDS with other sleep-related infant deaths, a diagnostic shift has occurred with more infant deaths classified as unexplained or accidental suffocation rather than SIDS, though the underlying challenge of preventing these tragedies remain. And they said recent changes in terminology mean that far fewer infant deaths are being classified specifically as SIDS, or now they can be classified as that SUID. But they also say that continued education about sleeping on the back and certain blankets and things like that. But they said there needs to be more research done as well. But they just said no longer as big a mystery as it used to be about 30 years ago. They're saying that there's a lot more scientific explanations about how these babies unfortunately die. Woman of Steel said, "Oh, Woman of Steel, you have helped so much on this channel. If you never helped again for the next 35 years, I don't think anyone would be upset at you. I don't think anyone would be, you know, I don't think anyone would be upset. You don't owe me anything ever, ever. You don't owe me anything." SP Mama said, my best friend's 17-month-old died of SUDS because he was older than 12 months because half his brain didn't develop and they have no idea why. He probably falls in that very small percent where they don't know the reasons for it. Aussie Tad said, I slept on my tummy and still do. All my kids were tummy sleepers too. But all mine could hold their own heads up from birth. I don't think I've ever slept on my stomach. It seems uncomfortable. Maybe it's because Pink's just very fat. I don't know. Chipmunk said, wait, did I miss something? Oh, this one. Yeah, it is very sad. I don't know why half his brain wouldn't develop. That's interesting that they don't know why. Why that happened. That's very sad. Woman still said it just means they can blame the parents now instead of ignorant doctors, possibly. We all know how doctors operate. Rachel said, my sister died of SIDS in 1970. They just didn't know a lot back then. Yeah, there was an article 10 years ago, if I remember correctly, that it was on NPR. Rethinking SIDS, many deaths no longer a mystery. That was July 15, 2011. And you think about it now, that was 14 years ago. And you think of how many medical advancements have been made since then. And they're saying here, The mystery surrounding SIDS is not what it once was. Many of those deaths are now believed to be accidents caused by unsafe sleep practices, and some are questioning whether the term SIDS remains relevant at all. And they're saying that they've just done a better job at classifying, but also finding reasons for the way these babies die, and the science is just a lot better now. So they said here, some would argue that a SIDS diagnosis offers compassion in a moment of distress and a way to avoid blaming the parents amid the tragedy. Interesting. Wayne County Chief Medical Examiner Carl Schmidt disagrees, said, I think that's cruel. I think that actually sitting down with a parent and telling them what happened is much more humane than trying to obscure the reasons why the infant actually died. Most people really want to know what happened so they won't do it again. That's very interesting. They said in Wayne County, where that medical examiner is from, that they haven't had one of those deaths in 4 years, which was back in 2011. But yeah, it could be down to education. I mean, I think the education of how babies sleep and stuff like that has been much more prevalent in 30 years. So maybe that is helping bring the rate down. Woman still said, I'm going to keep on helping because I get a lot of enjoyment and interesting information about other countries. Well, you are welcome. I'm glad that someone enjoys the channel. It's very kind of you. Chipmunk said, I would love to sleep on my belly, but I'm a side sleeper. There you go. Breaking news from Chipmunk. Carolina said, my son was preemie and wouldn't sleep unless on his stomach. I used to hold him while he slept for months to try and avoid a death like that. It's interesting. It probably worked. You did well. Didn't Dr. John just talk about? Oh, I don't know. If you have the video, send it to me. I'll watch it. How do I sleep? Like a bat, upside down, because I'm in Australia. We're at the bottom of the world. We're upside down here. That's sort of how it works, You guys are up north. I'm down south. We're down under. Sleep like a bat on the bottom side of the world. All right. All right. We have an update in Sydney on that gangland shooting. Here, I'm going to take you to it. Here, this is very interesting. Yeah, so this is from the other day. They actually arrested people in a kill car in Sydney. People that were off to actually actually commit a murder, and they actually stopped them in traffic and arrested them. But there's been an update. 3 guns for hire arrested in Sydney, including a 16-year-old boy, live from ABC News Australia.
Tell us about these arrests.
Yeah, so it was yesterday morning that police say they conducted around 8 separate raids based in Sydney's southwest, where they arrested these 3 men aged 21, 18 and 16 years old. Now, police allege that these 3 members are members of a group called G7. It's a new group which has emerged in recent months as police continue their investigations into a spate of different gangland shootings where we've seen people die in recent months as well. They're investigating what tools they are using and where these tools are coming from. So police say in this instance they're following the money, and that has led them to arrest these 3 alleged contracted criminals. So guns for hire, essentially. People that are paid by organised crime networks. It could be a raft of organised crime networks. We've seen the Alameddines, the Harmsies mentioned, but also more recently we've seen a drug syndicate that police say is based in Vietnam, also linked to this group, being paid to carry out some of these alleged assassination plots.
When you hear that people being like hired guns, and you see how many underworld killings are in Sydney now, and have been for a number of years, that is bonkers. that a kid as young as that is being involved in murder for hire or hired guns. You have to ask yourself, what is going on to have children that is their big dream in life, to become part of a G7 gang where they can get money for being part of assassination attempts. Really. That is what? Hold on, Underworld. Yeah, this was the original thing. Let me take you to it. This was when they actually, this is connected to it. This was when they intercepted the car a few days ago, and this is the police talking about it. So I'm going to take you to it. And they call it a kill team or a kill car, and they were on their way to commit a murder, and the cops somehow intercepted them, and that's what that G7 video that you just watched was related to. But here's the original outline here.
3:50 p.m. yesterday, the State Crime Command Organised Crime Squad led a high-risk operation to stop 2 vehicles in Revesby. The operation involved New South Wales officers from the New South Wales Tactical Operations Unit, the Covert Services Command, Polair, several State Crime Command squads, and other resources. For several weeks now, Strike Force Flodine has been investigating a transnational serious and organised crime network believed to be involved in multiple conspiracies to murder. The operation involved multiple high-risk vehicle stops. From within the first vehicle, a Mitsubishi Outlander, we arrested 2 men aged 18 and 19. We recovered balaclavas and pistols in that vehicle. From within the second vehicle, the Mercedes-Benz, we arrested a 26-year-old man and found 2 jerry cans full of petrol inside the vehicle. Later, we searched a third unoccupied vehicle and recovered a third firearm. Detectives also recovered body-worn cameras, electronic devices, and other evidentiary material from both suspects.
What? They recovered body-worn cameras. What were they going to do? Live stream the execution to the people who are paying them? That's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of body-worn cameras being confiscated from people doing a assassination before. What did the people paying them want? Video proof that they... What is this? Some sort of sick kind of Hunger Games where you pay them to kill your adversary, but you want it on video so you can re-watch it at a later time. That's very strange.
And the vehicles. Overnight, State Crime Command detectives executed multiple search warrants in southwestern Sydney and recovered further evidence and electronic devices. We will allege in court that the men were en route to attempt to kill a man in the vicinity of a daycare centre in southwestern Sydney. The fact that this group were prepared to kill an individual in a location where so much collateral damage could have been caused is of significant concern to the New South Wales Police Force.
Who are they targeting? And is that person linked to any specific criminal organizations?
Yes, that person has links to crime, and that person was targeted due to what we think is a breakdown in the transnational organised crime network.
So there you go. Police the other day from ABC News Australia talking about that kill car that they intercepted with guys that even had body-worn cameras. That is very strange. Kill cars, hey? Here's an article about it too. Renewed focus on kill cars as police swarm on hit crew in Sydney Southwest. There's one of the cars there. It looks like they fired on the car too. There's bullets in the window. There's one of the guys on the ground, surrounded by SOG, which it's either SOG or Raptor. I'm not sure which crew it is out of New South Wales Police, but either SOG or Raptor Squad. They're saying here the use of so-called kill cars in underworld hits are by no means new, but they have become an increased focus for investigators and they are reaping the rewards. On Tuesday, police said they thwarted an underworld assassination at a southwestern Sydney daycare centre because they tracked the alleged kill car or kill team in their cars on a busy road. Over the past 5 years, using and torching multiple cars as part of gangland violence has become a tried and true method of those hired for underworld figures. And yeah, they've definitely been using the two-car sort of system. So one car goes in, commits the killing. The second car is the getaway car, and then they get out of there. Sometimes they torch both of those and then have a third vehicle that they get away in. So the two cars may become known from being at the scene, and then, yeah, they just torch them and then have a third person that meets them to get them away. And they say the cars have been stolen sometimes months in advance, have cloned plates, and contain a kit to commit and get away with murder. That kit often been found by police to include balaclavas, firearms, a change of clothes, and a jerry can with fuel to set the car alight and dispose of forensic evidence. The tactic has been used in murders linked to bikie gangs, Middle Eastern organized crime networks, Pacific Islander gangs, and Asian drug syndicates operating in Sydney. In a few cases, police said the cars were staged for weeks, if not months, ahead of a planned attack. And there you go. Car keys found inside of one of them. And they say the keys to another getaway car and gloves were found in the glove box of a car police allege was a carrying hitman. So they found gloves for no fingerprints, and extra car keys for a getaway car. So they are well organized in their sort of killing plans for people. And like it said, it's been done several times. People have gotten away. They've never been located, and they've sort of figured it out how to do this and get away with murder. So uh Carolina said, I can't believe the crimes people think they're going to get away with these days. So many cameras, so much digital info, genetic genealogy. It's just easier to work and live a decent life. I agree. Miss Woozy said, why are they taking out childcare workers? I don't think it was a childcare worker. I think it was just near a childcare center, which is why police wanted to act on it because children might get hurt. So, yeah, here's some of the images from inside the car. So, inside that car that they got, you can see a weapon that they hid underneath a pillow or a blanket. And let's see if we have any more photos. There you go. A jerry can, probably full of fuel, found in the boot of the vehicle to obviously light the car on fire. So, they've definitely got a full kit. And they say, they're saying here, Task Force Falcon formed in May of this year. Within days, police have said they found cars staged in suburbs that had all the hallmarks of a kill car. One located in Guildford contained a pistol and a semi-automatic rifle, as well as jerry cans and balaclavas. What do they have? Do they have someone who is shopping out there? Going out there and buying like 40 jerry cans, like a whole bunch of weapons off the black market, and just staging them all over Sydney. That sounds like what they're doing. Um, yeah, murdernomics. I don't think it is a new phrase. I think it's been used before. So yeah, they just leave these cars in plain sight, waiting for the day that they need them. And when they need to enact revenge or go and get an adversary, they have cars stashed all around. And they go and get them and then they commit the crime and torch the car. So they seem to be a well-greased operation. They seem to know what they're doing and they do it quickly. You don't know what a jerry can is? What would you call it? A gas can? Gas can. Yeah. You call them a gas can? Yeah. Sounds like Grand Theft Auto. It does sound a little Grand Theft Auto, doesn't it? So there you go. Gangland killers are starting to become very, very methodical and very well-oiled in doing their sort of getaways and burning cars. And although it looks like Strike Force Falcon may be having some impact on their ability to commit the crime. So there we go. Who's Jerry? He's on the screen. He's the red thing in the photo. All right. I think I've run through all my stories in an hour and a half. We ran through everything I wanted to do tonight. So I think we ran through just about everything. Let me double check I haven't missed something. I think we got just about everything. I want to do this one more from DJ, actually. If I can get it up on the screen for you. Yeah, here we go. So a Texas woman sentenced for insulin poisoning of her fifth husband sentenced to life in prison after a jury found her guilty of murder in Texas. Wow, Texas has had a hard week, a very hard week. But she was found guilty, and it says, yeah, she used insulin to murder him. Wow. Here, let me take you out to Click to Houston, and they have a video on it.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for KPRC2 News at 3. I'm Andy Sirota. The Chambers County woman who killed her husband with an insulin overdose is going to prison for life. The jury returned the maximum punishment for Sarah Hartsfield this morning after a short deliberation. KPRC2 News reporter Bryce Newberry has been on top of this case since her arrest and has reaction to its conclusion.
The family of the victim, Joseph Hartsfield, of course, is relieved, but so too are her children, as well as her exes, people from the past who say that Sarah Hartsfield has victimized them for years. This afternoon, Sarah Hartsfield is now a convicted killer on her way to prison for life. Take a look. This is the video of her being walked out of the courthouse after getting that sentence. She had her hands cuffed, she didn't answer any questions, and then got loaded into the back of a van to head back to the Chambers County Jail before eventually being transferred to a state prison. She used insulin to kill her husband in January of 2023, then ignored alerts from his glucose monitor about that dangerously low blood sugar level for almost a full day. While he laid there unresponsive, the lead prosecutor said she believes a key piece of evidence that swayed the jury was Sarah having groceries delivered to the couple's home. Sarah did not testify at all in court, but she did have a lot of body language on full display.
When she would come in, initially she appeared poised. She was very performative. I don't know if people noticed, but she carried the Bible, but then she would leave it. She would forget it. She didn't bring it back to the jail with her. But as people began to speak the truth about her, the facade wore off.
The jury.
Hell, let me take you back to when she was arrested about 2 years ago.
Who is behind bars on a $5 million bond, accused of murdering her husband she had claimed to mourn. Thank you for joining us at 10. I'm Keith Garvin.
Good evening. I'm Daniela Guzman. Well, investigators say she has been married several times, and what they learned from her living ex-husbands caused them to ask for that really high bond. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry live tonight at Baytown Houston Methodist Hospital, where this bizarre investigation, Bryce, first started.
Keith and Daniela, an ambulance rushed that woman's fifth husband here to this hospital for a suspicious illness last month. But emergency room doctors called the Chambers County Sheriff's Office when the story started to not add up. And tonight, foul play is suspected, and she is accused of murder. 46-year-old Joseph Hartsfield's online obituary reads he passed away peacefully due to complications of an ischemic stroke with his loving wife at his side. But tonight, his wife, 48-year-old Sarah Jean Hartsfield, is in the Chambers County Jail accused of murdering him. An ambulance rushed her.
I'll stop it there. But what a cruel, cruel woman to do that to him. Really, really cruel. To to let him sit there and die a very slow and agonizing death. Very slow, agonizing death. Very awful way to kill someone. These women, a lot of women poisoners, apparently. We've read heaps of them recently. Gail said, have you heard of the case of the missing woman who went home on fire? Whose home went on fire the day after she disappeared? She was found 8 days later in the woods near her home. There was a lady who was found. I know that. Lady. Yeah. There was a lady found in Putnam County. Is that in Indiana? Is that the lady you're talking about? I wonder if it's the same one. I saw this a number of hours ago. I just don't know if it's the same one. Is it this one?
Information this morning about a story that's quite bizarre, and we've been following it. It's a Putnam County woman. She's been missing for more than a week. Well, last night she was found alive.
Yeah, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office put an alert for her last week after a fire at her home. Marina Silva has been following this story, sharing the very latest that we just learned last night. Marina, good morning.
Good morning. Well, it was just before 7:30 last night that first responders found her. She was found just 2.5 miles from her home in a wooded area. Now, I spoke with her family late last night. They told me they were with her at the hospital as she was getting checked out. But let's start from the beginning here. The investigation first began when a fire was reported at Guard's house last Wednesday. She was supposed to be at her daughter's volleyball game. Her daughter ended up getting a ride home from a friend and came home to find first responders trying to put out the fire. The sheriff's office used local, state, and federal resources to find her. Her disappearance is sparking an outcry on social media to spread the word to find her. Now, the investigation turns on how they found her and what happened.
Yeah, it reminds me of that story that we read last year about. It was something very similar to this, where a woman's house was on fire and then they found her dead or something. We read about one last year that was very similar. Brittany Gard. Okay. I have a story here. I'm just trying to see. Good Samaritans waved down news now moments after they found her in a wooded area north of Autumn Lake Apartments nearly 24 hours after she went missing. Okay. Why did she go missing if her house was on fire? Okay. Oh, wait. This one's called Jacqueline Bell. Is that the same lady? No, that's a different county. That's an old lady. That's not the right one. Putnam County. Apparently, there was another older lady who was found alive too. Let me see. A Putnam County woman who disappeared a week ago has been found alive just a couple of miles from her home after she herself called 911 for help. Brittany Gard, 46, is currently receiving medical treatment following her disappearance. The circumstances were bizarre. Local departments responded to a fire at her home on East County Road 600 North in Putnam County on October 1st. She was not at home at the time, but her car was in the driveway and her purse was inside. Investigators deemed the fire suspicious in nature. Her family said September 30 was the last time anyone had seen her. No one was able to contact her. So, is there anyone else involved, or it's just like she was having a mental break and set her house on fire and then went missing? I'm trying to figure out in my mind what it is. So, did someone kidnap her, or or did she just sort of have a bad week and decide to set her home on fire? That's what I'm trying to figure out. They said her phone suddenly pinged and police found her. Carolina said, I've been following her case since last week. Happy ending to almost a tragic case, 2.5 miles from her home. I want to know why her house was on fire, though. I want to know what's going on with that. Sounds like Sherry Papini. It does a little bit. Let me see. Brittany Gard. I just want to know why her home was on fire. It was only in one part of the home, the fire. Let's see. They say once she was located, paramedics checked her out at the scene and then took her to an area hospital for further medical evaluation. There's still no individuals of interest in her missing person investigation, according to police, but the case is active. Investigators have not disclosed her condition or how she ended up alone in the woods. Yeah, that's interesting. She's got 2 children too. Okay. They're saying her purse was still on the kitchen counter and her car was parked outside after she disappeared. They ruled the fire suspicious in nature. She was supposed to pick up her 13-year-old daughter from a volleyball game but never showed up. Okay. A lot of mysteries about this woman. We need more information. We need, like, what kind of condition was she found in? Does she look like she's been out there for 8 days? If she isn't in a rough condition after being out there for more than a week, where has she been for 8 days? That's the next question. For attention? Maybe. Yeah, it's also a little weird. Carolina said police say that her home was set on fire under suspicious conditions. They aren't releasing much about the fire. They aren't releasing much about her either. It doesn't say. It doesn't say. It says she had a husband down here. Hold on. Her daughter was at her dad's, so the father of the girl. The night before the game, she talked to her mum that evening. She was expecting her mum at the game. I don't think Brittany has missed a game in like 2 years. Okay. So it sounds like the kids move between mum and dad, or they have some sort of shared custody. It'd be interesting to know why the kids live with dad, because normally the female, as sexist as that is, normally the mom gets the children. Normally the mom gets the kids. So sounds like she was separated or divorced by the sounds of it. It is very strange, very strange. I want to know more about why, and how, and I want to know what kind of condition she was found in. That's what I want to know. Because being out for 8 days in the woods, you would be in a bad condition. You'd be dehydrated. You'd be very hungry. You'd be, yeah, not doing so well. Yeah, let me take you to this one here, if I can get it to work.
Where is Brittany Gard? The 46-year-old mother of 2 is considered missing and endangered. I'm Nico Panisi with WRTV, and I'm in the Putnam County town of Bainbridge, where law enforcement, family, and neighbors continue their search. Among the tall ears of corn off County Road 600 North, there are more questions than answers.
Who took her? How does someone just go missing these days?
I met Stephanie Bowen and her sisters as they wrapped up a long day of searching through the fields adjacent to Gard's property on Monday. Bowen describes Gard as a loving mother to her 25-year-old son and 13-year-old daughter. So when she didn't show up to a volleyball game on Wednesday, the family knew something was wrong.
Her car's at home. Her purse is at home. She's nowhere to be found. And the house is on fire. It makes no sense.
That night, the Putnam County Sheriff's Office was called to Gard's home for a fire. When deputies arrived, she was nowhere to be found. What do you think happened?
I just feel like there's something here bigger that we don't know.
The search.
Yeah, I definitely think that person is right. There is something more here that we don't know. Definitely. Yeah, 8 days and only 2.3 miles away. Yeah, it's not very far, is it? Carolina said, any updates on the 4-year-old Australian boy, Gus? No. No updates on Gus or where he is or what happened to him. No updates. No updates at all, really, which is very, very sad. Hey, Snap Crackle Pop, how are you? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. I think that's about it, but I'll keep an eye on the Brittany Guard thing into like the next few days and see if we get an update for it at all. Because it seems a little odd to go missing for 8 days and then be only 2.3 miles from home. That's not very far. You could walk further in that amount of time. It's a little strange. But yeah, 3 hours ago, she was found 14 hours ago, according to the paper here. What else do they say? They're saying she called requesting assistance, finding her way out of a wooded area in Halls Woods Nature Preserve, just east of Bainbridge, Indiana. And they're saying Putnam County Sheriff's Office is not currently looking for any individuals of interest in this missing persons investigation of Brittany Guard. There is no current threat to the general public in this case. It seems like if there's no person of interest and they would know, it's almost like she had a mental break and set her home on fire and then took off. Yeah, it sounds like she might have had some sort of breakdown or break from reality, something like that. Insurance money. The thing with that is they can tell very quickly whether there was an accelerant used to set the fire. And if they find that, you're not getting your insurance because they just will know that you did it. So they won't give you the money. What is a low-cost electrical community? I don't know. Low-cost electrical. I don't know what a low-cost electrical community is. So they are considered off-grid intentional communities. That's what it is. They often use things like solar or wind or energy-efficient new developments may be considered low-cost electrical communities. There are ones that are designed to be zero energy, or they could be things like a homestead that uses like hydro or something like that. They use solar but have no mains electricity. So that's sort of what it is. It's like solar or, things that don't require a lot of mains electricity. Yeah, battery, hydro, solar, anything like that. Anything like that. So I'll let you know if we come back tomorrow night and there's an update for that one. I'll let you know. But right now, they're sort of just not saying a whole lot about it, not saying much. All right, let's get out of here. For tonight, we've done a billion stories, all in about an hour and 40 minutes. You've had more true crime than you ever needed to know in an hour and a half. Self-sufficient, right, off-grid. Yeah, like a homestead. All right. I love you all. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here tonight. And I just want to check the PayPal thing. Hold on. Yeah, I want to thank Sean and I want to thank Carla. Thank you very much for your help in keeping the channel funded. It is very kind of you. We don't sit here all show and, badger our community like some channels do. Find that actually pretty horrific that channels do that and keep their viewers hostage for donations. We don't do that on this channel. So when we do get some, it's nice to say thank you to those people. And yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday night for you guys. We'll have some fun. And yeah, we'll have some fun for Friday night tomorrow night. Hopefully we can get on a bit earlier tomorrow night so we can do like 2 hours plus We've been unfortunately getting on quite late, and it's been so late in the night by the time we get through about an hour and a half. It would be nice to do 2+ hours, maybe tomorrow night. All right. See you then. Have a good night out there. Tune in tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button for me and hit the thumbs up because that helps ping out a lot. Aussie Tad said, yes, I know who you are referring to. Wendy Wobble says, good night to the US peeps. Yep, good night to the US people. Have a good sleep. Come back tomorrow. We'll do more updates and true crime for you on Nights with Ping. Good night, everyone. Bye.